Hello and welcome to Flooring Models Kit View Time. Today we've got an older kit, shall we say. This is Italeri 1/24 scale Land Rover fire truck, which, as we probably all know, is the old Esky kit been reboxed. Now, to be honest with you, when you're talking about Esky, most of you probably haven't even heard of it, unless you're of a certain age, shall we say. They were one of those manufacturers that were actually getting there, and then times went bad, shall we say, in the hobby, and it just before the internet really got going, and unfortunately they went. Luckily though, all their molds have been bought up by other companies. Specifically, Italeri has done a lot with their stuff over the years. So a lot of their older aircraft, I remember just the older Phantoms or old Esky kits, things like that. So they are still around and seem to have gone quite quiet for many years, especially on the vehicles. And now Italeri's really jumped on and done a lot of reboxing. You might remember we've looked at a lot of theirs before. It's got them on here, to be honest. You can probably see it here, which is the Ford Transit. You might remember we did that one live. I did mine as a rust bucket. And then we've got the Range Rover and lots of other vehicles they've been re-releasing out there. So it's nice to actually get a Land Rover out of this one. So again, it's one of those ones where if you wanted to, you could obviously do it as a fire truck, or you could use it as a really good jump off point for doing something else with it. And that's the main thing with these kits. So down in the box, if you can see, kit number for this one is 3660. Okay, and it's down on there. So around on here, you have got a couple of versions of this one. So we've got the Cornwall's Fire Brigade's finest, my locals, down in here, and we've got a Belgian one as well. Okay, but you have got other versions. We've got a German one, we've got an Austrian one down in there, we've got a Spanish one, and it looks like we've got another one as well. Okay, so different versions of it are down in there. The box itself hasn't got much, 24 centimeters long. Okay, a little bit down in there. It's got the little thing for the decals just on there. Okay, and it looks like this is sort of openish. Okay, so we can get sort of in here. We've got the instructions. As you can see, we have in red, separate bagged clear parts, which is nice. We've got those and those. So we just do that. Then hopefully this will stand up, which will be handy if it does. It does, there we go. All right, so as always, we'll start with the instructions. So it's the standard instruction layout that Italeri do. All right, so it is stapled together as you make your way through, so hopefully we can just about see that one. I'll move the camera out just a fraction. That's it, so we can get it all down in there. Okay, so pretty much as you might imagine, there's a couple of bits you're not going to use in here, but most of it you much are. So underneath, you're pitching down the actual onto the chassis. We've got the gearbox going down in there. We've got the leaf springs, and then obviously all the running gear down underneath. Got the exhaust system being fitted through there, and then everything else. Now, a bit old school, but it is the old way of doing it. You remember, you used to heat up your screwdriver with a candle and then physically melt the tops of the pins in there if you want it to be working. And to be honest, as a kid, you probably do, but more of us adults would probably just glue it in one position and be done with it. Okay, so you've got all the running gear being down fitted underneath, and then you're working back up into the actual cab. So we've got the forward sort of the firewall going down in there, the actual instrument panel going in, and obviously all the seats, the flooring, and the various things. I'm just wondering if you can have this as left or right hand drive, and it looks like you can. So you have got different versions if you want to do it European or the British way. Okay, and then fitting it all down in. So you've got going onto the chassis, and then obviously got this one coming up right the way through. Wheels, it looks like they are going to be one piece. They are one piece plastic wheels going down onto this one, or rubber wheels onto this one. Clear parts being on the inside for the windows, something you can put in afterwards right the way through. And then obviously specific for the fire roll this one's doing, you've got the big fire drum in the middle and the water tank down in there, extinguishers and all the bits and pieces being fitted on those. And then obviously you've got the drag handles, turning lights, fuel filler cap, and all the various things being fitted down. Famous Land Rover, obviously with the wheel on top of the bonnet. And then obviously a lot more fire equipment on the actual rigging on the top. Okay, then we've got the ones down in here. So we've actually got the Hampshire Fire Service, which is quite a nice one. We've got the Cornwall Fire Brigade one down in there as well. Then obviously we've got the German, as I say, we've got the Spanish and the Belgium one down in there. Just like that. Okay, so it's different ones down in there. So take your pick where you fancy. Again, I know to a lot of people it's thinking it's an old kit, it's very devoid of, you know, any type of detail, things like that. But actually it's one of those that you say you could use as a jumping point. And the nice thing with the Esky kit, you can go on there and do loads of scratch building to them because they just lend themselves so well to it. So down in here, if we just flick over here, we've actually got the decals, which again, they're pretty usable. That's not, these aren't not usable, they're very nice. You've got a little bit of carry film, they look a little bit thick as you can see, but you've got the whiteness of the decals down in there and these ones in there. So depending on which one you actually want to do, that's your options on those. All right, okay, then for a change, I think we'll start in the clear parts, and it is quite important on kits of a certain age, shall we see, to see how well the clear part moulds are still to this day, and if they're, you know, got any big blemishes and things. Looks like we have got a little bit of a scratch in that one, but to be honest, it's side windows. It's a Land Rover, you'll be fine. And being as they're flat, you're not going to have any real problems with this one, and all of those windows are very, very usable indeed. Okay, so down in here, let me just move that camera down just a little bit again. Okay, there we go. Be a bit more usable. Okay. One bag just down in here. Down into it. Okay, so if we, I think let's have a look at this one first. This actually is a lot thinner than I thought it was going to be. So this is the roof area. Again, you could have it as a soft top if you wanted to and not have these on. Big old ejector pins down into this one, but nothing major, as you can see, no problem with that. You've got all the details you might expect with it, and actually it's a lot thinner than I thought it would be. I thought it'd be quite chunky. You can see the moulds had a bit of a polish up down there. You've got some mould marks down in there, things like that, but generally very, very nice indeed, no problem. Okay, and then whilst we're at it, we'll just jump across to the lower body. Okay, and again, that actually doesn't look too bad. There's some really nice details down into that one. So you got your spare wheel with the bolts, and obviously we've got the ones for the folding windscreen if you was going to be having that type of thing. Again, nothing opens up, so you can't open the doors or anything else. Okay, but yeah, actually that's not too bad at all for the old Mark III. Actually, that's pretty good stuff right the way through. You got Land Rover moulded in the back here, and it actually is. So that's quite nice as well. So again, good attention to detail. I think by the time it's got some paint on it, it should come to life. The chassis itself on this one, as we can see, actually doesn't look too bad. Looks all right. Again, it's not going to win any awards at the end of the day. I'm not trying to kid anyone here, but actually it's not too bad at all. I think it's definitely very usable, shall we say. Let's move those out of the way. Get a bit of room in here, but yeah, absolutely, all the small parts are on here, and get it again, considering the age of the kit, that's not too bad at all. That's, you know, not kid ourselves, we have got a few little things on here, shall we say. So if we work down the bottom, we've got the seats, we've got the actual the bulkhead down in here, we've got the dashboard, some of the framing for the windows. Okay, and we're working our way up through the lights, the steering, the wheels, and there's a little bit of flash around sort of everything there. Big thing in the grille here, we've got loads of flash down in there, but you're going to just pop in there with a knife, clean those out, and you'll be absolutely fine. And then the exhaust pipe, we've got a little bit of a sink mark in it, various things, but you know, it's not so bad. I've seen a lot worse, let's put it that way. And again, because of the age of the kit, you know, and as a jump off point, I don't think it's too bad at all. Okay, we've even got nice little weld beads around these guys at the back here for that rear part coming across, and the center ones and things like that. And generally, you know, the ejector pins, they're either slightly pronounced or slightly sunken, but there's nothing massive that would be too much in the way or anything else like that. So that's pretty nice right the way through on there. This one over here is more specific to all the firefighting equipment, so we've got the ladders, the hose reels, extinguishers, things like that, and obviously the roof bars over here. And again, that's not too bad at all really, with all the parts down in there. Everything seems very nicely done, nicely moulded. Again, it's not going to win any awards, let's simply say it's practical as a jump off point, so that's no problem with those. Last up, we've actually got some wheels, so if we have a quick look at a tyre in here and see how they are. So these are one piece, and actually, to be honest, that's not too bad. You haven't got a gnarly centre seam in there. We've got no writing on the walls or anything else like that, but actually that's no problem. You've got one point here, which is the injection point, but there's no big centre seam. So that's quite a nice touch with that. So the wheels are very, very usable on this one. And it almost looks like that's a flat spot onto it. that's pretty close to being a flat spot already. And again, it feels a hard, solid rubber. So to sand that back and to put a flat spot into it wouldn't be too much of a problem on that one at all. So I think that's very usable. Okay, it's gonna said it's not going to win any awards. It's very old, it's very rustic, and it is £34. And £34, yeah, I suppose in this day and age it's not mega bucks, but it's still a lot of money for an older kit. If it was around the sort of £29, I'd be a lot more happy with it. So it is a little bit more. But you've got a lot of options to do with this kit, as we were saying. If you're going to go down with a firefighting route, or you're in anything like that, you're going to love this kit because it's all there for you. If you're just looking for a 110 Land Rover, you know, to do other things with, obviously you're paying a premium with all the bits and pieces onto it, and perhaps you're off looking at other things, and we've seen them before with other manufacturers just doing standard 110s and 90s and things like that. So from that point of view, you take your choices of where you want to go with it. But generally, I think it's actually really nice. There's some very nice details down in here, right the way through to this front grille, which I didn't really see before, but that's actually very, very nice indeed. Some nice details. And again, a little bit of scratch building into this one, adding a few of your own details, some nice weathering with it. I think you're going to end up with something just a little bit different, and that is good in this hobby. So there we go, that's Italeri's 1/24 scale Land Rover firefighting truck.